Did you know that John Hayes Hammond Jr. was an avid sailor? Being born to a wealthy family who eventually settled in Gloucester, Massachusetts, America's oldest seaport, it seems almost inevitable that the inventor would take an interest in all things nautical. Famed for his experiments in radio-controlled torpedoes and ships, Hammond was himself an accomplished sailor. Hammond owned at least 7 boats throughout his life. 3 of these, the Pioneer, the Radio, and the Natalia, were used for radio control experiments in the early part of the 20th century. Watch our previous episode on the Natalia for more information on them. Beyond these, Hammond also owned 4 pleasure crafts. 3 of these were racing and sailing yachts, all named after the Greek hero Odysseus, with numbers appended to them to denote where they fell in his acquisition of them. The 4th was a luxurious motor yacht called the Ripple. It is likely that his interest in racing yachts as a young man led to Hammond meeting his eventual wife, Irene Fenton. Her father, Archibald, aka Archie, Fenton, was a noted Gloucester builder of such boats, from whom Hammond purchased the Odysseus II between 1908 and 1909. In 1935, Hammond purchased and converted a former rum runner called the Diamantina, with the intention of outfitting it for a journey around the globe. This was somewhat ironic, as the inventor claimed he had been approached by a rum-running syndicate in 1931, when Prohibition was still in place, seeking his help in developing radio-controlled smuggling boats. He refused that offer. Following its conversion, the Diamantina was rechristened the Odysseus III, a schooner over 120 feet in length. He even equipped the vessel with one of his inventions, a whistle that not only made a sound, but produced a visible signal of the craft's location using a puff of what appeared to be steam, but was in fact powdered aluminum stearate, under heavy air pressure. He used the Odysseus III for various scientific purposes as well. Hammond was known to go on extended sailing journeys, often to Canada, where he had something of a close encounter with strange lights, the subject of another episode of the Hammond Weekly, but he also made time to retrace one of Christopher Columbus's voyages to the New World using the Ripple in 1934. During this trip, Hammond collected artifacts for his collection, including 6 stones from the first church in the Americas, which are now embedded in the wall next to the spiral staircase that leads from the upper hall of Hammond Castle Museum to the Great Hall below. He also acquired 2 benches, once owned by Bartolomé de las Casas, a famous 16th century historian and priest. He also received a gift of a human skull while on this trip, but that's a subject for another episode. One of the more harrowing experiences Hammond had at sea was when the Odysseus III clipped a large whale off of Thatcher Island near Rockport, Massachusetts. Hammond and his Canadian crew were returning from a trip along the coast of Maine when the whale rammed into the vessel from underneath it and lifted its bow out of the water. Fortunately, both the whale and the schooner escaped without damage. According to Hammond, one of the cooks aboard the ship referred to the incident as a love pat. Hammond appeared in his seafaring garb in several advertisements for Bromo Seltzer, a pain reliever and antacid, claiming that he always kept the medicine on hand in his cabin. Said cabins on both the Odysseus III and the Ripple were very well appointed, if more cramped than his castle home. It is this experience living in confined, if lavish spaces, that led to his interest in developing mobile homes for the land. See our previous episode on this subject for more information. It is often said that boating is a pastime for the wealthy, and Hammond is proof enough of that. However, his interest ran deeper than that of the average rich dilettante, and explains why he chose to remain close to the sea in Gloucester. We hope you enjoyed this video, but there's a lot more to explore about John Hayes Hammond Jr., his inventions, and his collection of art and artifacts. We invite you to visit us at Hammond Castle Museum in Gloucester, Massachusetts to learn more.